All right, right now there's a lot of talk out there that do UFOs actually exist? The government, some officials even came out and says, yes, they do exist. I don't know about all that, but I am here to tell you that there are some practices out there that the Bermuda Triangle actually exists inside of your practice. What I mean by that is you guys are bringing staff members into your company and they get lost. We can't find them. Like, what happened? Like, you hire somebody, you're like, I think they're gonna be an A player, they're amazing, and then all of a sudden that person has disappeared off the face of the earth, but they're still in your facility, we just can't find them, okay? And the reason for that is I'm gonna take you through a couple of things right now, which honestly, when I first started my clinic, I thought a lot of this stuff was just random things that people put on websites and also brochures, and I didn't realize the power behind these when it comes to like actually building a successful culture. And one of the things before we get into that is we send out staff surveys to a lot of the owners that enter our program, especially if they have like more than 4 employees, and we want to get the perspective of where the staff is currently at in the facility, right? Do they actually feel like they were trained properly, or they were onboarded, or do they actually feel like their voice is being heard? And do they actually trust management in their We ask them all these questions to try to figure out where they are at. Because if we're trying to implement things in the clinic and we're getting a lot of blowback, there's always certain indicators that we see when it comes to those surveys. And I kid you not, whenever we get a survey that's like, it's pretty brutal, right? There's a lot of 1s, a lot of 2s. If we're ranking on a scale of 0 to 10, and 10 being amazing and 1 or 2 being not so good, when we start to see those lower survey results, we start to realize that most clinics have this little Bermuda Triangle built into their practice where people are just coming in and they're just literally disappearing and getting lost. And the first thing I want to let you guys know is that whenever you're building really good culture in your clinics, the first thing that you have, and it's a non-negotiable, right? This is one of those things that like, it's really important. So I want to make sure you guys are paying attention here. Like, this one here is a non-negotiable. And if you don't have this in your clinic, I could almost guarantee that you're going to have a disrupted culture. And what do I mean by that, right? Number one is you want to make sure that you have a vision, right? You want to set the vision of your company. Now, I'm here to tell you, I have no idea what that even meant. Set a vision, like I visioned that I'm gonna have an amazing practice. Like, what does that even mean? And when it was explained to me, it's just like, oh, well, that's your destination. Where is your company actually trying to get to? When you start a company, you have an end goal in mind. If you look at some of the bigger companies out there, without going too far into detail about who they are and what they're trying to do, a lot of them are trying to disrupt the marketplace. A lot of them are trying to change the world. A lot of them are trying to take something that seems almost impossible and make it possible, right? These people are coming in and disrupting marketplaces. Think about how Netflix came in and they're like, oh, you go into stores to buy your movies and then gotta wait in line and they might not be there? Well, what if we just create a streaming software? They knew that they wanted to make sure that they have accessibility to all the stuff that Blockbuster used to offer in the palm of your hand or at the comfort of your own home. Pretty amazing, right? If you think about like Tesla, they're like, hey, we have gas-powered cars, like, we got holes in ozones or whatever that looks like. Probably should do something about it. It's like, we would like to start making electric cars so we can improve the energy and the environment. They know their destination. So they know that they're trying to be able to get electric or gas-powered cars off the road and replace them with electric cars. That's their destination, right? Now, the key here is that like a lot of you guys have no idea where we're trying to get to. So if we got to figure this out, let's start small, right? Let's start small. Where do you want to get to in a year? Start there. Right? People are always like, what's your 30-year vision? I don't know what my 30-year vision is. I'm just trying to survive today, right? So you guys need to understand, like, start small. Where am I trying to be at the end of the year? If I came and I asked you, I said, hey, in order for 2023 or 2024 or 2025 to be considered a success, what would that look like? Where are we trying to get to? The other thing here is that, like, let's take it out a couple of years now. 3 years from now, what does that look like? Where are we trying to get to? At the end of this year, where are we trying to get to? And at the end of 3 years, where are we trying to get to? How about 5 years? How about 10 years? And now all of a sudden we start to create a vision. Some of you guys are like, oh, no. I don't need to know like 1, 3, 5, 10. Like, hey, 20 years from now, this is what we're gonna do. And you have that so much confidence. You're like, hey, our vision right now, in 20 years, we're going to do blank. That's amazing. I could actually feel that energy when you say that with conviction. You're like, this is our vision. 20 years from now, this is where we're gonna be. See how powerful that is? And for me, I thought you're just like, my vision is, there's not substance there, right? It's gotta be powerful. The other thing I want you guys to understand before we move on is you guys are all trying to attract A players, right? Everybody wants this, right? And people have different names, like, I want rock star employees, ooh, okay, right? I want A players, oh, awesome. Well, if you want to attract A players, you need to make sure that you have a really, really, really big destination for them to get to and a big vision, because you want to create a vision that's so big that they could fit their careers inside of it. If their career aspirations are bigger than your vision, they're not coming to work for you. Or if somehow you were able to convince this person, and remember, convincing is for your reasons, not their reasons. You were able to convince this person to come work for you. Once they find out that your vision isn't as big as you thought, as you said it was on the interview, they're gonna leave. And that's what happens with a lot of companies that we work with that don't have a big vision, is they start to lose A players. The opposite starts to happen, and I wanna make this very clear because people aren't aware of this. Once you set a big vision and you set some of this other stuff we're gonna talk about, your C and D players leave. Your C and D players are gonna leave once you set a big vision and do some of this other stuff we're gonna talk about. And the reason for that, well, that sounds like work, and I don't wanna work. I just wanna show up. I don't wanna be micromanaged. I don't wanna go to this thing. I wanna do my own thing, right? I'm a drifter, right? There's a movie called The Count of Monte Cristo, and when the guy washed up, he's like, I'm gonna name you Zatara. And the guy goes, oh, Zatara, it sounds fierce. And he goes, it means driftwood. So understand that these guys here, they're drifters. They don't wanna be part of that destination. They wanna be part of that vehicle. Understand number 2 here is you gotta make sure that you have a nice mission statement, right? What's the mission that we're on here? I didn't know what that meant. Mission, we're just trying to help patients. This is your why. Simon Sinek always says, start with why. Why are we trying to get here, right? When we have a mission and we have a why, and this is where we're going to get to, now we attract these people, right? When you have a mission and a vision that's so big and a why that's so deep, right? We're not going wide, we're going deep here. This is when these people get inspired. Inspired achievers, A players. Drifters, lone wolves, they're gonna leave, right? These guys are out. These guys, they're all in, right? Now you might get some crew members, right? You need some crew members here. You might need some B players. They're along for the ride. As long as the A players are here comes the Bs, they're okay. C's and D's, they're like, this is too much for me. I'm out. Mission, why? And before we move on here, your why needs to be so deep. Oh, I wanna help patients. Okay, I wanna help patients. So when the HVAC unit goes out on a 98-degree day, patients are complaining, staff's complaining, and you wanna give up, and you're like, I don't want to help patients anymore, I'll just close it down because I don't have 15 grand to pay for a unit. You don't have a deep enough why. When you try to open up a physical therapy practice and you've just hired your clinical director, and 2 weeks before opening they let you know that they're not going to be able to work for you anymore, you have to have a deep enough why to be able to push through. All of a sudden you go to hire a physical therapist to pull yourself out of treatment. You're like, this is it, I'm finally getting out of treatment. I could work on my business instead of in it. Well, then another provider leaves. Now you're still stuck in a treatment. Disruption is going to follow intention, and I want you guys to understand that your why needs to be so deep. When disruption comes over, you just step over it. It's almost like the Heisman, where you get out, right? Get out of my way. You gotta have a deep why. Then what we need to understand is number 3 is gonna be core values. And I used to just think core values were like, oh, well, I'm, elite physical therapy. So enthusiastic, intelligent, right? Lively, right? Insert whatever adjective you want to throw into here, right? And box yourself into core values. Professional, altruistic, whatever, right? Core values, wow. Core values, all that means is that you're all going to be on this boat trying to get to this destination. All these guys, right? Here comes all your A players, woo! Here comes your B players. We're all in this boat together. There's a lot of us, right? And then, here we go. So people know. Got the little skull and crossbones off the back. How awesome that looks. So now you're all on this boat trying to get to this destination. Core values, all that means to you guys, this is how do we act. This is how do we behave when we're on the boat. Core values, people don't realize this, But core values, these are really your expectations, right? You got to set expectations, mission, vision, core values, right? And then we're going to also, hey, how do we act in the role? And then how do we act inside the department, right? Core values. When we're on the boat, how are we supposed to act? And now a lot of times people are like, oh, there's all these different core values and stuff like that. But think about it. We're trying to create a value-based business instead of a rules-based business. So what do I mean by that? If you're a physical therapist, you need to get your notes done in 48 hours, you're gonna get written up. We need you to get your notes done so we can start processing billing, right? So I need you to have 48 hours, you gotta get your notes done. Value-based business, speed is king. Feel the difference there, right? So maybe in your business, instead of like, hey, professional, altruistic, speed is king. Communication is queen. Sweep the shed. These are core values that these people understand, that like when they come to your practice or when they come to your building, this is how you want them to act while they're on the boat to get here. Now, some of you guys are gonna have, people jump off the boat, jumping off the boat. They're gonna swim over here. They're gonna then get on their own boat and they're gonna try to do things their own way, right? Your C players, your D players. And they're gonna start going, you guys are going this way to your destination. Well, they're gonna go this way. The only problem is you're still paying their payroll. And they're not in the same boat as you, they're going in a different direction. That's why we need to make sure that everybody's on the same page, same boat, and they understand the why, the destination. Now, some of you guys right now are like, well, this sounds cool, but how do I do this? Understand here, the last thing is you gotta make sure you guys are setting goals, right? You set goals. Now, some of you guys are gonna have a starting point and you're trying to get to your destination, right? This is A and this is B. You're trying to get from A to B, right? A lot of things that we teach people is how to get to A to B quickly while mitigating risk. Goals are just basically your little checkpoints along the way. Think about going on a cruise. You gotta leave Florida and you gotta get so far away from Florida before you could even see the destination. And then along the ways, you might stop at different islands and different ports along the journey. And these are gonna be your goals, your milestones. For your goals, you guys need to understand you're gonna set your annual planning goal where you set your vision and then your yearly goal. Hey, this is where we're trying to get to, and then this is where we're gonna try to get there. This is, out of the next 10 years, this is what we have to do this year to put us on track for this. That's your annual planning meeting. Then what you're gonna do, because most people start to lose a little bit of momentum, you're gonna hit them with a quarterly planning meeting, right? How do we do this quarter, and are we on or off track to hit our goal for this year? The next thing what we're gonna do is going to be a monthly planning meeting. So you got 3 months to make up a quarter. So each month we want to make sure we have enough momentum here to get us to the quarter. And then the last thing is that we're going to do weekly. We're going to do weekly planning to make sure that we're hitting our goals for the month. So if you're hitting your goals for the month, you're hitting your goals for the quarter, and you're hitting your goals for the year, well, now you're on track to hit your destination. Pretty cool, right? So again, I always thought that this stuff here was just something you put on the brochure until we started to set these big vision and expectations. Now all of a sudden we are starting to attract A and B players. We're starting to deflect C's and D's, and that's why we're able to win the game. So if you found this content valuable, go ahead and click the follow button up above to subscribe to our page. And if you want to learn how to start setting up these expectations, your vision, your mission, your core values, and your goals inside of your practice to start building an amazing culture, go ahead and click the link in the description to speak with our team, and we look forward to meeting you. Take care, and I'll see you guys on the next video.